everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Hello, and thank you for watching.
And look, we've done 2 episodes in this bulk record where we haven't cracked that pack.
The pack has not been cracked. There has been packs to crack, but the crack...
We ain't cracked that pack.
We ain't cracking the pack. We've run out of time. There's been too many pressing issues. As people may or may not know, it's no secret. We record the method that we like to be face-to-face these days.
Yeah.
And because we both live in completely different places, we arrange a one-day recording that suits both of our schedules where we can be face-to-face.
Yeah.
And normally...
Sometimes cheek-to-cheek even. You'll have to subscribe to the Patreon to see that. Will and I slow dance.
Yeah. It's like face cheek to ass cheek. Human centipede style.
Let's do an entire episode. Human centipede style.
Podcasting. Do a live episode.
You have to put a microphone in your ass.
Every time a new guest comes on, they have to join the ass of the previous
Why
guest.
aren't you guys doing TOFOP with friends anymore? Well, people have
hard
problems.
to convince friends to get involved once we went to the human centipede style of podcasting. So we record, this is our third, but the way that the day normally plays out is we'll have a couple of topics of conversation since we've last seen each other that we want to get into. Then we'll crack a pack at the end of the episode. 4th episode, we'll do letters. We'll go through the mailbag. We'll catch up on what's been going on. We have a bit of a rhythm that we've been getting into. But today, we just came in with so much stuff that we needed to get to. Firstly, a couple of weeks ago, you would have heard now that Charlie obviously had to talk about the ex-tropical cyclone that was up your way. Everybody was concerned about that. And then, of course, 5 last week. If you haven't caught that episode, you've got to go back and listen to
extra long episode.
About 5.
It was so long. We went so long we had to dump crack that, but we bumped the pack.
Yeah, we bumped the pack, exactly. And so now we are going to do something that is unprecedented.
Controversial in some circles.
In the history of us cracking packs.
Yeah.
We're going to attempt for the very first time a double crack episode.
Yeah, we're going to double crack.
We're going to crack at the start and we're going to crack at the back.
Yeah.
Crack that pack. Nailed it.
Firewood Mike, that was unusually
That's what apparently we're going to do it at the start of the episode.
Yeah, right. And then it gets the timing right. All right, so we've got...
Okay, which pack are we going to crack first?
The oft-mentioned but seldom tried Biscoff biscuits.
Biscoff?
I don't know why
Was
you...
it
Bischoff? I always think of Eric Bischoff from the WCW. Biscoff. Biscoff, coffee-flavoured biscuits.
Biscuit and coffee. It's short for biscuit and coffee. Biscoff.
I get it. I've never had one, but you, I believe, have had one of these.
I've had many of them.
Firewood and Mike, have you tried a Biscoff? Yes.
I've tried a Biscoff
I haven't tried the biscuit. I've tried the biscuit flavouring around.
Of course.
I tried the original biscuit. I just thought it was a flavour. I didn't know it actually came as a biscuit.
Well, no, it was originally a biscuit that was that has been named into made into a topping or a flavouring or whatever.
How did it get so popular?
It's recently become popular.
But how?
Because they realised that could be not just a biscuit, it could be an Nutella-style flavour that has become very popular. They managed to make it into like a paste and a flavouring and you can't go to a Yochi without putting some Biscoff on the top.
Why isn't there a Monte Carlo goop or a shortbread goop or how come everyone doesn't just do it?
I mean,
I don't understand why this just became part of the zeitgeist.
Well, I think one of the things we'll probably get into when are we going to go with the Biscoff first?
Well, I don't know. Well, the other option is we have Coles have gone upmarket with their generic brand. So this is Coles Finest, Will, and you can tell it's upmarket because Finest is written in fancy font.
Oh yeah, and they're cornflake
cookies, which I'm a big fan. Do you like a cornflake cookie?
Yeah, I do.
Old school country bakery.
All right, you know what? Let's go the cornflake one first. We'll get to the Biscoff later.
Okay.
Because the Biscoff is everywhere. It is the flavour of the moment. Let's keep that to the end. And
Last night on the way home from your show, I had a Biscoff McFlurry.
Yeah, that's new. It's the new McDonald's range, the Biscoff McFlurry. It's pretty sweet.
So
isn't
if you
it?
bought,
awesome, it's very sweet.
It's got caramel in it as well. They've put some caramel and Biscoff. I may have tried it.
So in the same way, Stanley Cup went bananas 2 years ago, Biscoff. If you bought
3 years ago, nobody was
Biscoff.
Yeah, if you bought into Biscoff 3 years ago, you are now a Biscoff billionaire.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's read.
And by the way, the company has been around for 50 years or whatever. It's these Biscoff original biscuits have just been trotting along, being being a reliable coffee biscuit for years. Then they've had this modern rebrand where
But
it's become...
who was the genius?
And
I
the
need to
company
know.
who just
Yes.
said we should melt down these biscuits.
That's
you know what people don't like? Chewing.
Dude.
What if this biscuit came in a liquid you could pour over things? I think the thing that really has been getting in the way is people needing to move their jaws.
I mean, look, I've got room in my life now for a documentary podcast.
No.
Maybe it's not about Jay. It's about
How did Biscoff become a flavor?
Biscoff become
You know what? That is actually a good idea for a documentary because the idea of how something goes from not being popular to
or just being
the
this whatever.
flavor of the moment, like
Yes.
matcha, right?
Yeah.
Like I was saying to somebody the other day that said that matcha in some cities is now a more popular beverage than coffee is.
Yeah, but would you say it's much ado about nothing?
Hey!
Much of a muchiness.
So I think that would be interesting to go, how does something become a trend? How do you go from never having heard of Biscoff 3 years ago to Biscoff being available everywhere, to being ubiquitous as the choice of the moment?
Because you can see it happen with brands like Dunlop.
You know, my
Dunlop sneakers tried
Yes.
very hard to make themselves cool. They're like, oh, we'll rebrand, we'll reinvent the Dunlop volley. VB have tried it a couple of times. Can we get this into a hipster market? Can we make people like it in an ironic way?
Well,
And
on Gruen, we always say that McDonald's is the line. When McDonald's has adopted something, sorry, it's done. Right? It's like when McDonald's is like, we put avocado on a burger. You're like, oh, okay, that's the end of that. We can't do that anymore. You know, and it's like, there's always a point where McDonald's like identifies a thing and brings it in, and they've just brought out their Biscoff McFlurry. So might be.
Well, we'll enjoy it while it's still trending.
But let's start with Coles Finest.
Coles Finest. So let's read a little bit about this because with the fancy biscuits, they love a bit of a flowery kind of description. So
great.
Coles Finest small batch cornflake cookies.
Small batch.
So does that mean
Shut
it's
up.
like more exclusive? Handmade in South Australia.
Handmade?
With juicy sultanas and cornflakes for
Okay.
a soft buttery centre and crunchy outer cookie. Now,
That actually sounds nice.
I'm not familiar with putting salt. I'm thinking of one local bakery that I go to that does these, and they don't put sultanas in. So I'll be curious to see. Then there's further.
When my nan was making them, when we were growing up, definitely had sultanas in them.
Did you do small batch?
I mean, I think she was making small batch. I don't think Nan had a factory out the back of her kitchen where she was doing large batch.
Made in South Australia using quality ingredients, this nostalgic cookie recipe has been handcrafted in small batches, then baked for a soft centre and crunchy outer. With juicy sultanas on the inside and crunchy golden cornflakes on the outside, these cookies will take your taste buds down memory lane. Oh, you're promising a lot.
Okay.
Coles Finest.
Talk a big game, Coles Finest.
They are hideous.
Are they?
That is an ugly.
They look disgusting.
That is shit out.
It's not a confident start. A cornflake cookie, when you think about it, you're thinking
a lot
about it like
bigger.
being big and
Yeah.
kind of like generous
Not
and hearty
misshapen
and like.
with dark lumps inside
Man,
of
it
it.
looks very sad. That is indeed a small batch. That's what I will
It's
say.
a small industrial packaged batch.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't have a lot of charm to it, does it?
The color is immediately off-putting.
It's kind of pale.
Yeah, the
and
cornflakes
like-
are falling off like dead skin.
I mean, there's barely cornflakes attached to it still. I mean, that one, look, there's barely any cornflakes on that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cornflakes in the bottom of the packaging, I will say that.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't really lasted.
It is one of the most, of all the biscuits we have consumed in this segment, this is the most aesthetically displeasing.
It looks
like
and it looks old and stale and
everything about it is repulsive. I'll go first.
okay. It really actually looks like, it actually looks more like a tempura mushroom that has been like left out and like just gone cold, and it's got that sort of like clag. It does not look great. How does it taste?
Like shit.
Ah, damn it.
They advertise
really?
crunchy golden flakes.
Yeah.
They're chewy as.
Is it crunchy?
No, they're
At all?
chewy. Soft, chewy.
You run me through that
cornflakes.
description again. You tell me that description that was on the.
All right, okay. So the description is
and tell me how accurate it is.
soft center and crunchy outer with
Does it
juicy
have a soft
sultanas.
center?
Soft center. Well, the whole thing's
Okay.
soft, I would
All right,
argue.
okay.
Go.
Crunchy outer?
Not really crunchy outer. No, the cornflakes are they bend. They're bendy more than anything. I find that completely unappealing, and I don't know what the dough is that they've used. Yeah, you can't even complete it.
Yucky.
Mike, come in here. We've got something for you.
That's
No good.
if that's Coles' finest. I would hate to see. I would hate to see when Coles is phoning it in. I would hate to see Coles' worst. Oh my god!
How could you fuck up a cornflake cookie? Like, it seems like such a no-brainer.
Oh.
That is terrible.
That makes me hate my man.
I mean, the worst one we've had so
Maybe it
far.
was just a bad batch. The next,
It was- oh, it
yeah,
is small
exactly.
batch.
And do
That's
bigger
true.
batches, that's what I'm saying.
The size of the batch is the problem. That was.
As bad as, I reckon that's almost as bad as the Golden Gay time.
I reckon it's worse because it's destroyed a positive
Yes,
childhood memory that I had
exactly.
about something.
Yeah,
Wow, I could not.
The sultanas do not improve it. They
If
make
we
it
had a
worse,
bucket
if anything.
that I could have spat what was in my mouth into, I would have spat it out.
Yeah,
That's the worst. I feel like that's the worst one we've ever tried.
I don't know. I think because I feel my memory of the Golden Gay time one is it gave me a headache. It was
Yeah.
so artificial.
Yeah, okay.
This one just feels like bad. At least
Still
the-
stuck in my teeth though.
Yeah, everything
I've
about
got a
that's
real
horrible.
awful lingering aftertaste. This was a mistake to do it at the start of the podcast.
You know what I think the
I've
problem
realised.
is? I'm just looking.
This is why we normally do it at the end, so I can wash the disgusting taste out of my mouth.
It says no artificial colours and
Well,
flavours.
put some in. That's what I'm hearing.
More artificial colours and flavours.
Something. Put something in there. It's disgusting.
now we know why they're only doing small batches.
Oh my God. I would make the batch even smaller than that. People are eating smaller batches of it. I'll tell you that.
But they list the ingredients.
It's great.
Right?
It's less to throw out.
The rule-
That's the good news. They've really cut down.
The rule is the first thing listed on the ingredients is the highest
Yes.
percentage.
So
right?
what's the highest percentage?
Sultanas.
Oh, my God.
Call them sultana cookies because that's probably what
Yeah.
I think the problem is. It's too squishy. and
Too
just-
sultanery,
too
not
sultanery.
cornflakey enough. Yeah.
That has to be crispy. Like I would much rather like if the entire thing was crunchy. That
Yes, of course.
Yeah, that was fucked.
Awful. Oh my
So
God.
I've thrown the packaging. That is horrible.
Wow.
Bischoff has Bischoff. Eric Bischoff. Eric Biscoff
Yeah,
has a lot
Biscoff.
to live up to. I know
Yeah.
we're going to edit at the end of the episode, but that's fucking put me in a bad mood.
Wow.
Like I'm going to rant.
That was awful.
Let's turn this into an alt-right
Okay.
podcast where
Yeah.
we rant about biscuits that piss us off.
Yeah. Why don't they bloody make biscuits like when we were young, mate?
Oh, mate. Australian biscuits. They should all be Anzacs.
Exactly right. Oh,
Yeah.
why are we even eating biscuits from overseas?
Oh, we import these biscuits and we expect
Yeah.
there's going to be no problem?
Mate, there'll be no, you know what? What? There'll be no room for local biscuits in the supermarket, will there, with all these imported biscuits?
You know, the problem is we gave women the vote and they voted to make these biscuits.
Yeah, you know where women should be, in the kitchen, mate. Oh, no, I can't even in a jokey way. I can't even.
Mike, do not clip this up.
Yeah. And Charlie, you were saying you had some thoughts about the Matildas that you'd like to get to.
What I would like to get to, Will, is a segment we did once on our show.
All right.
And I've been sort of
I
compiling.
still am feeling gross about these biscuits. They are so disgusting.
Yeah. The thing is about sultanas as well is I like a well-deployed sultana, but it's
Yeah.
got to be minimal amounts, like a good oat and raisin or oat and sultana.
See, but this is
cookie.
it. I love an oat and raisin. Like
Me
that is
too.
to me like one.
That's the classic.
It's still in the whole time we've done that. We had that oat and raisin biscuit from the South Melbourne markets.
That
and-
was one of our top tier
It's one of
ones.
my top ones I've ever had.
We didn't rank this, but is it an F?
Oh, whatever the most fucked score is.
F minus.
Who emoji? Shit tier. Like whatever people are saying for the worst, they are the Drake. I am going to get Kendrick Lamar to call these biscuits a pedophile because they are not appropriate for children or adults, it turns out. They are disgusting. Can I tell you something funny,
Yes.
by the way? Just speaking of, I know it's a long time since this happened, but remember back in the day, people remember, it was quite famous, that Kendrick Lamar did a song called Not Like Us.
Yes.
And it was about, there was a bit of a beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
really? I hadn't heard anything
It was
about
a rap
this.
battle
Oh, really? Interesting.
of sorts between the two of them, Charlie. And eventually Kendrick was kind of seen to be the winner.
Declared the winner.
Of that rap battle
Yes.
because there was a song called Not Like Us, which ended up winning Album of the Year and Grammy of the Year or whatever, like Record of the Year, the Grammys. And like it was a huge song. And then Kendrick famously performed it at halftime at the Super Bowl. And it's got like, a bunch of accusations about Drake that are in this song. So it's fair to say that within a week, it was pretty tough when it came out, but within a week, Drake watched it win 2 big awards at the Grammys and saw Kendrick perform it at halftime at the Super Bowl.
And literally barrel the camera, as he said,
Hey,
the
Drake.
most inflammatory of all the
Right?
disses.
Right? And looking at the camera, right?
Have I got cornflake in my teeth?
No, I
feel
can't
do.
see any.
I feel like it's in my
I
teeth.
know. It just feels
It's
like
like when you take bad drugs and you got like ants under your
feels
skin.
like it's going to be forever in my teeth. I feel like I'm going to have flashbacks like to this moment. I'm going to eat other cookies or biscuits in the future, and I'm not even sure that I'll be able to eat cornflakes.
It's really
From
it's
now on.
that damaging. I don't like cornflakes. I don't like any kind of breakfast cereal.
So, all right. So in that week, so I'm just talking about a guy who's having a bad week,
Yeah.
right? So Drake was in Australia
Yes, that's right.
at the time doing a tour of Australia, which he eventually cut short.
I can't imagine why.
I don't know why. But at the gigs, did you follow this thing that he was like, people were coming to the gigs and like there was, his whole shows were just
Getting heckling him.
No, people asking like for money.
Oh,
He
yeah,
started
that's right.
giving
People
away
holding up
and he was like
billboards
giving away
saying,
$25,000 and stuff at like his shows to random audience members. And I'm like, it couldn't have, for a guy who was still selling out stadiums and doing a big tour, it couldn't have reeked more of desperation and just like, yeah, you've got this guy who's dissing you and like doing all these cool things in the world and all these celebrities are singing along. Like you've got a stadium of people singing along to these lyrics and you're in Australia having to give away money to audience members to win their, but there was a moment that could have been the greatest of all moments just to cap off a guy who was having the best week of all time. So I was in Perth when Drake was in Perth. He played like 3 or 4 nights, like had at this like the big concert venue that they have there. He had a whole bunch of sold out shows. He left Perth. And then a few days later, Bryan Adams was playing at that exact same venue. Bryan Adams, everyone knows Bryan Adams. So Bryan Adams' concert was cancelled. And the reason that the concert was cancelled was because a fatberg in the sewage system.
What's a fatberg?
So basically it's a build-up of like fat and all sorts of like, shit that's like shouldn't be, not shit.
I mean, are we allowed to
been
describe bergs as being fat? I think that seems a bit insensitive in this day and age.
It's made up of fat.
So no, but I feel like you're being very judgy, Will. I mean, do you know?
Have we renamed fat? The actual.
Yes, fat itself. I feel like we need to reclassify that as being, I don't know, size challenged.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, the point being, it was a berg of some kind. It was
lard.
a waste berg.
Oh no,
a
lard sounds
berg.
worse.
Oh, that's worse, is it?
I don't know.
Anyway, no pejorative, just a fat berg, a berg of fat.
Yep.
And rubbish and related other things that aren't human waste, things that aren't meant to be in the sewage system, had built up to a point where the sewage system broke down. They had to shut down the entire street. I walked by this as I was on my way to the gig. They'd shut off the entire street because sewage started leaking into the venue. Can you imagine if that had just happened 3 days earlier? Drake is already having the
really
worst
bad
week of
tour.
his entire life, and then shit literally starts rising from the floor of his concert. It would have been the greatest.
Can I ask a question
Yes.
about Drake? Because you're more familiar with hip hop than me and hip hop culture. So Drake, right? I mean, I understand he's been a star for a long time now, and
Huge star.
And prior to the whole Kendrick thing, so he
Still
was
technically probably a bigger star if you're talking about album sales and views and etc. than Kendrick is.
right and more prolific.
Yes.
right. And so, at least more prolific in the early
Maybe
days.
earlier than that. Yeah. Kendrick has been very prolific of late.
But he also sort of he sort of tread that line, didn't he? Of like not gangster rap, but definitely sort of like in the image he was putting forward and stuff. Like I saw a video from this Australian tour where he was coming out wearing a hoodie that had like smoking gunshot holes and stuff. But and correct me if I'm wrong, is he not an actor from Canada? Like wasn't he on You Can't Do That on television or
Degrassi Junior High? Yeah.
or something like that? Yeah. So did he actually grow up like,
No, that's what but this is the heart of the problem that people like Kendrick and others have with Drake.
is he's pretending?
I mean, one of the whole verses of Not Like Us is literally about like you are not like us. You pretend to be these things.
Because I saw this.
You go to Atlanta when you want this sound, and you go to this, and the allegation being that he goes to all these cultures and he appropriates these cultures. And he's not really black because he's half white. Like so, he's not really black. Is kind of now whether that's a fair allegation to make about him, I don't know. But that is certainly part of the allegation.
Because I got a little bit curious when I saw because I was like, because I just assumed that he was this Canadian actor, and so I watched a few music videos, and there's one, it's an old song now. I got my eyes on you, na 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 na, and the whole video is his girlfriend gets kidnapped by like other gangsters. So him and his boys get together an arsenal of weapons and go to this like, you know, dock area, like shipping dock, and like have this gunfight and stuff. And it's all played like real po-faced. Like this is my life, man. Is like I fire a machine gun and rescue my babe, or you know, you probably wouldn't call her a babe.
But
another pejorative.
I know what you mean.
Do you know the video I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I know what you mean about his image. The reason that I've never it's not for me, is that it always just felt like pop music to me.
Right.
It's never felt like hip hop or gangster music or any of that sort of thing. It always just felt like here he is like a thing that you are playing. And I think that has gone to the heart of the criticisms around Drake, is that he is playing a character, whereas for people like Kendrick, who grew up in Compton and legitimately kind of lived the life that Drake is appropriating, like that's the heart of what Not Like Us is about. I mean, I know all the kind of attention goes on the, like, you know, the hey Drake, I hear you like I'm young sort of stuff, but like the real kind of more cutting allegation in the hip hop world is he is not a legitimate hip hop.
Well, that is the last. I mean, you know, that's the kind of the climax of 8 Mile is the idea that the guy you're rap battling actually went to a private school and never actually lived this life. Like it's all pretend. But I guess you're right. If you view it more through the lens of he's a pop star, you know, and you know, in the same way Sabrina Carpenter has adopted this kind of 50s-esque kind of image. Yeah. But
in the same way as you know, a Lady Gaga or somebody like that
Gaga
is not, you know, Gagaring it all the time at home, I imagine. I imagine that, like, you know, that, you know,
think she doesn't?
Chapel Roan, like, has talked about the idea that, you know, that
she takes off the makeup.
It's a drag character, you know, an extension of a drag style character. So.
But would you be like, when David Bowie was still alive, you'd be disappointed if you went round to David Bowie's house and he was just knocking about.
Hello,
in,
governor.
Like, tracksuit pants and a t-shirt. Like you'd expect to see him in either like a really well-tailored suit or with his makeup done or something, right? Like,
I don't think that I would.
Really?
No.
You wouldn't be. You'd be like. So if you saw him in like,
I think I would
tracksuit pants and a t-shirt,
yeah, I'd be like. I mean, I'd expect that he'd still have like the vibe. Like I can't imagine it would be.
Hello, Will. I'm just in the garden. I'm just pulling up some flowers.
I imagine whatever he'd be doing, it is still being.
Would you like
stylish.
something to drink? I'll just put the footy on. You like the Bulldogs, don't you?
I like this. You was like Bowie, just like talking. I enjoy this.
Okay,
this
good.
Is fun.
I wanted to bring back a segment. It's been a while. This is not a regular segment. This is something we did once called Bryon Bay catfish.
Oh, yeah. No, I love this. So this is the Bryon Bay accommodation sort of Facebook.
Bryon Bay, not just the community board.
Community board.
The general board, which is... Like Facebook, you know, like of all the social media, Facebook is probably the one where it goes from.
It's the best. It's never done anything wrong.
It goes from 0 to 100.
That's what we're hearing.
The insanity goes from 0 to 100 so quick, and so the comments are always like awful and stuff. Like even
on Facebook,
yes. Okay. Even with Cyclone Alfred, like you know, someone would post something about like, "Hey, where can I get some sand from the sandbags?" And I'll be like, "Fuck you." Yeah. People can't even afford to live here, and you think you can get sandbags? And it's like the people. There's so much anger about,
and Facebook encourages that, does it?
I think it does. I think it puts those comments to the top because it sparks debate.
Oh, interesting.
But this is more a fun.
Now, you're talking about the
Facebook.
The Facebook? Is this the one from the movie? The one that was set up to rate how hot women were? The Facebook? You're telling me it is the one that... Okay, yeah. So on this site, we have explored this before. There will be people advertising for accommodation.
Yes.
Traditionally, they are... incredibly hot.
Well, this was something I was unfamiliar with, but I think now that I've looked into it more, when people are looking for a job or looking for a place to stay, they will generally post a couple of photos to say, hey, this is me. But it's not like a selfie that you'd take, hey, this is me, like, you know, a passport photo. It's generally the hottest photo you can find of yourself. If you're a guy, you're generally shirtless. And I'm speaking specifically about the Bryon Bay forum.
Yep.
It's normally a dude. If it's a dude, he's coming out of the surf, shirtless or meditating in the bush somewhere. Girls generally bikini shot or looking beautiful with the sunset. Doesn't always have to be showing skin, but it's about being attractive.
Yes.
And generally, the stuff that interests me is when they list their interests. Mm-hmm. And the original question of this is, are these people real or is it catfishing? I'm starting to think that maybe they're real, and this is just a
No.
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 All right, well let's go through some of these and okay. I'm going to
This is how scams happen. Like what you just thought is how scams happen.
Okay.
I think they're real.
Okay.
I think all these really attractive people who want to come around and work for me and have sex with me are real.
okay. This is
But what if they were real though?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I guess it's worth giving them my credit card details.
all right. This one, I think you'll think this one's legitimate. We're going to start off
All right.
with a more kind of from unhinged to hinged. This is more
All
hinged.
right. This is hinged.
And I'm going to protect the names of these people in case.
Okay. In case they are.
Hello,
real.
beautiful humans. My name is Blank. I'm looking to rent a room in Byron for 4 to 6 months. I'd like to move in August. Ideally, I'd like to be located in town or a 10-minute bike ride away. A bit about me.
Yep.
I'm into arts and photography, which is also what brings me to the region. I'm very polite, positive, and friendly. I love animals. I'm very active. And I'm into a clean and healthy lifestyle. I've lived in Australia for 6 years, but I keep coming back to Byron, and then does the heart emoji.
Yep.
Please feel free to send me a message.
Okay, you know what?
Legit.
I'm going to say legitimate or good scammer. Like,
Okay.
because
haven't gone too hard.
Because this one to me is not so obvious that it's a scam but again, I'm not saying it's not a scam.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying if this is the one that you think is most hinged, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt
All right.
that this one isn't a scam.
All right, let's go to a guy. This dude, this photo, he looks like, that Luigi Mangione.
Oh, yeah.
Very much in
very Luigi
territory.
style.
Shirts off.
Yeah.
His one is just chilling.
Guns out.
Chilling at a hotel pool.
Yeah, in front
He's got
of a
his
palm
guns out
tree.
to a palm tree. He's wearing
Yeah.
a weighted vest. Then the last one is at CrossFit.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so
What does this one say?
hello, everyone. My name is Blank. I'm looking for somewhere to stay in Byron, preferably close to town.
Yeah.
By the way, if you
10
know
minutes
real
bike
estate
ride.
in Byron,
Yeah.
you're fucking dreaming. Anyone who's asking this, anyone's looking for a share, there are no
Share houses close to
in
town,
Byron. They're all
no.
fucking Airbnbs.
That's
All right. I'm an easygoing and active individual. I live for early mornings and daytimes. I love a sunrise and spending my day at the beach, running and going to the gym. I eat healthy food. I very rarely drink, and I don't do drugs.
It seems like you don't have a job either.
I just want a place to lay low. That's a fucking
Sounds like a criminal.
yeah, alarm bells.
I've got some
Till the
on
heat
me.
passes. It's lay low till this all blows over. I need a safe house. I just want a place to lay low whilst I focus on my fitness and enjoy what Byron has to offer. My family own a restaurant, so I'm a pretty good cook. I think that's a typo. And have been trained to clean down just as well. Aha. That's verbatim. I have great personal hygiene. That's a separate line.
Okay.
Separate line. I have great personal hygiene. I'm looking forward to hearing if anyone has an available room soon. I'm really friendly. I get along with everyone I meet. Now, I think that is a catfish.
Yes. And I'm going back to the original one and saying that's a catfish too. They're all catfish.
I had a friend who came to visit Byron, who is single, and he went out a couple of nights in town, and he said, and he's in his sort of early 40s, and he said it was like there are so many single women, divorcees in Byron. He said it was like so many options. It was like female farmer wants a wife. So I think if you were a scammer, this is a smart move. Like there are women there who are looking for company.
Who are looking to eat, pray, and love without having
with
to
a
go
guy.
to Bali.
All he mentioned is he's fit.
Yeah, I'm fit and I've got no other commitments.
And I can cook.
And I'm looking to lay low.
Lay low.
Lay low. And by I want you to be low and you're the one I want to lay.
Okay, here we go. This is a much more glamorous shot.
Catfish.
That looks like AI
Catfish.
to me.
Catfish.
Yeah? Okay. Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
My name is Blank. I'm 22 years old.
22.
I'm heading to Byron soon and plan to stay there a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
Therefore, I'm looking for a job. I have a holiday working visa and big experience in hospitality
big experience.
inside Australia and out.
Okay.
Feel free to contact me anytime. And then it's just a very glamorous
catfish.
It looks like a fake. Is that a real person?
I don't even think it's a real person.
I think that's fake. I think
Mike?
that's a fake.
They're all fake.
Fire water, Mike. Fake.
They're all fake.
They're all
She looks like she belongs in the Bob house.
Call back to our previous episode.
That one definitely feels, that one to me definitely feels fake.
Okay.
Like even a fake picture. It hasn't even acclimatized to that sort of Byron vibe.
Yeah. I mean, it was so brief too. That not putting any effort into that one. I have noticed actually there's been a couple of scams I've noticed in Byron where like on Facebook Marketplace, someone will advertise something and you will respond to them. But then the minute you ask for any details about the thing, they're just like, oh no, just come meet me with the cash. And you're like, I'm going to get bashed. Aren't I? If I turn up this address to pick this thing, I'm going to get bashed. Okay, here we go. That's the photo. Attractive young woman.
Yeah, catfish.
Well, hang on, we haven't read it yet. So it's an attractive young woman in a bikini.
Catfish.
At the beach. Then in her yoga gear doing a salute to the sun.
Yeah. She's doing the catfish position, I believe.
Hello, my name is blank. I'm from the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
I'm planning to move to Byron in early November. I'm hoping for a place near town.
Yeah, 10 minutes bike ride.
10 minutes bike ride. I'm a passionate yoga and Pilates instructor with international experience and a background in hospitality, wellness, and personal growth. Currently,
you fit in. That's what they need in Byron.
Ideally, I'm hoping to find a yoga teaching position.
Of course.
At a hostel, retreat, or studio.
Yep.
A bit about my experience.
Okay.
I'm a certified Pilates yoga instructor. I teach breath work, meditation. I'm skilled in hospitality. I'm creative, adaptable, and passionate about building connections with people from all walks of life. I also love horseback riding, surfing, hiking, and creative activities. I'm staying for a few months. Would love to get involved in the community. And then she's put her WhatsApp number up there, which is highly unusual. That to me is the alarm bell one, because normally you like DM me and you don't just put your number out for the 15,000 odd members of this forum. Well, you think that's legit?
Well, I mean, that is a weird thing but you can get scammed on WhatsApp, of course, because it's like, it's encrypted. So like scams do take place in those sort of places because you can't have a trail of evidence. The problem is, the thing I will say about these, if they are scams, and I think they probably are scams, but I think that everything's a scam. So that's also, we've got to keep that in mind, is that they have summed up the vibe of the local area.
Yes.
There are plenty of people who live in Byron that if you sat them down and said, describe what your life is, it would sound exactly like what you've just read.
Horse riding.
Right?
Horse riding.
Or just
yoga.
wellness, yoga, working out all day. I don't have a job.
I've got one. I've looked. Can I share one?
Yeah.
Charlie?
Yes,
Because
sure.
I think this one is legit.
Okay.
On one of these forums. Hey, Bryon Bay. You tell me. I'm a young woman looking for a fun, affordable sharehouse accommodation in April. I'm super friendly, tidy, love being active, whether it's hitting the gym, going for a run, or just chilling with a good movie. I'm a really easygoing housemate, respectful of space, loves a good chat and hangout. I'm also a bit of a foodie, so if you're into cooking or just eating yummy food, we'll get along great. I'm ideally looking for a place where we can all be friends, make it feel like home, clean, tidy, positive vibes. Let me know if you have any available rooms. Drop me a message. Love to hear from you. What do you think?
Even maybe. Just only a maybe still.
It's so generic.
It's closer to being personal, is what I would say.
That was ChatGPT. Write me a scam message from Bryon Bay.
Oh, see, I picked up the generic. But having said that, it hit all the...
It ties to the same points about I love to be active. I like food because the prompt was make me seem hot, and that's what it did.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay.
So there you go. That's this is what I say when I have been talking about AI. The main problem with AI at the moment is it just means we can't trust any information because it has made scams. Like in the old days, you used to be able to really clearly identify a scam, whereas now AI has enabled it to for scams to get closer and closer. And my worry is that just continues to get so sophisticated that you can't tell what's real anymore.
Well, we've done it on this show with the AI of our voices. Because sometimes I wonder if with all the devices we use, and we talk across Zoom and all that kind of stuff, if someone was to hack into your system and get a sample of your voice and then hack into your contacts.
Oh, no, but they are doing this. Apparently this is
really?
a scam already.
So they'll just call you
they
and
are
say,
doing.
hey, I need money. Will, can you
or
send
the
me?
bank or like somewhere where they're identified. Yes, but like definitely recorded messages. That's often why they like to do it on WhatsApp as well, so they can pretend like it's the line's bad or whatever, so you're not hearing it properly.
I've lost my phone. I've got another SIM. They did updated training here with like what to watch out for. It's so scary.
Yeah, so the level of sophistication in the scamming industry, because there's these big scam farms now. Like there's basically scam factories in these countries, and people go into work and they work in the scamming industry, and it's like it's not even
Where are these scam farms located?
You'll be scammed in shifts. So
big scammer, large batch.
Large batch scamming, because it really is that idea of so wherever it is, whatever country is that they're doing these scam farms in, you'll literally just go into the office and you'll log in and there'll be like a list of people and where you are in the scams, and people will just pick up so you're not even being scammed by the same scammer.
Right, so they're literally putting in a shift where it's like, oh, we got this person to this point, but you need to follow up now and say, hey, we want to do that deal with you on New Energy or whatever it is. You get those calls. I had one yesterday because I generally will not answer
anything ever. That's my attitude. I don't answer anything.
You don't recognize the number, but
can confirm that.
But I'm doing this job at the moment where that's part of it is based out of WA, and I got a call from Perth, and I was like, oh, this could be the producer from Perth. I don't recognize the number, and I answered it, and it was a woman saying it was a question about banking, but it was with Westpac or whatever, who I don't bank with. Yeah. And I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And I know that my data has been leaked. There's
of course it has been. All our data has been leaked.
Yeah, but Ticketek had a big one recently. And that's why much to Mike's chagrin, when he's asking, what's the password for Riverside? I've changed everything.
Yes.
But now, how does this work, right? So you've got those password wallets now, but
what is a password wallet?
Well, it's like, so it's like a encrypted repository for all your passwords.
Where is it?
Well, I have two. I think Apple have a built-in one for Apple devices, and I have Nord because I'm with NordVPN, so I downloaded their password manager.
Okay.
But to get into that, I have to use a password. So I'm like, but what happens if they get that password? Then they have all my passwords.
Who watches the watchman?
You know what I mean? There's a password at some point to get in. And
all my passwords are in a password document on my computer where I've just written them all down. That's safe, right? That's fine to do.
Well, that's what
it's not. That's how they're not going to get to me. I've given it a different name, so they'll never know it's a password.
Put the keys in the bottom of the shoe on the sand, then you put a towel over it.
People won't know.
So Gem has some Bitcoin stock. And so the way they recommend that is you don't keep
I got some Hawk Tour coin.
Don't have any of your passwords online. No. So they literally say, write down your passwords in a hard copy and keep it somewhere safe.
And that's why you get those great articles where people are like, I've forgotten my Bitcoin password and I can't access my millions of dollars.
I can't tell you how many times Gemma has said, Charlie, you see this book that I keep here? This is, if anything was to happen to me and you need to access that money, this is where it is. And like Homer Simpson, she tells me, and in my head, there is like a monkey riding a bike. If gun to my head, if you had to tell me where in the house that fucking book is or what page to turn to or what relates to anything.
Hopefully there's not a fire or, a cyclone.
Extra-tropical cyclone. But what happens though? I do with those online wallets and stuff. Is it more encrypted? The password generators and all that kind of stuff. Are they?
The Apple one's linked to your Face ID.
Okay, so it's only accessible.
That makes sense because then you don't have to remember anything. You just look at it.
Yes.
Yeah, but how soon before the deep fake of my face, that they can do a digital version of that and hold up the photo to my...
Well, Apple, the one thing that I mean, and this is, I sometimes joke about the idea that I am so locked into the Apple infrastructure that regardless of how many crap things they might bring out, I would never update to anything else because I just can't learn it's too late. I'm too locked into the system.
It's called lock-in, right?
Yeah.
The term is lock-in.
Yeah, they got me. I'm locked in. There's no way I'm locked in. And I've by the way, I'm not resisting being locked in. The door may not be locked anymore. I'm not going to even jiggle with it anymore. I'm fine. But the problem, with that, the upside of that is I know that Apple are super, concerned about security. So they are constantly updating their security. They know that that's part of their brand is the idea that, so I'm always just hopefully they're going to try to keep in, because their business is to not be they don't want you to be scammed. Hopefully they got it, because I can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to protect myself.
You've done that thing where you've gone through and changed your passwords before, like you get a notification about a leak or whatever.
Yes.
And then
it's the worst. Then I have to go to my Word file. I have to update all the passwords on my Word file.
Will with a 1.
It was great recently because the time had passed where, you know how sometimes if you've changed something, because there are some that you need to change more often than others for whatever reason, they get hacked more often, or they're just whatever. So, or you forget one or whatever it might be. So I know you're not meant to have the similar passwords for different things. And I definitely don't have the same password for everything. That's the one thing. If anyone's listening, I 100% do not have. But, there will be periods where you're that system suddenly you don't have. And you're oh, is this the one where I don't have that password?
Yeah.
So the time had passed where I could put a password that I hated back to one that I could remember more easily, because the time had passed because I'd been trying over the years to go back, and they'd always be you've used this too recently. And it finally got to the point where enough time had passed and I was I
can go back to using that one I remember.
Oh, the peace of knowing what my password to this is.
It's the 2-factor authentication thing that kills.
Oh yeah.
That kills me. There's a couple of systems I use where it's and I just must have clicked it. Yeah, do you want to? Yeah. And it's sure. And it's have you got your phone? There's one for MailChimp. So we send out I forgot to do it this week. the newsletter for Everyone Relax. I just realized I completely forgot to do it this week. But it's periodically every 3 weeks. I think I get signed out. And so I have to re-sign in. It's 2-factor authentication. But for some reason, so when we set up the Everyone Relax website, I got given an email. And for some reason, I haven't done this with anything else. I used that email as the username as for the login. And I cannot find how to access the hello at everyonerelax.co or whatever it is. So when I get locked out and we've sent it to Everyone Relax, and I'm I don't know how to access that. And I've gone to the website, I go to the admin page, I'm where is email? Where is email on this? And then it turns out, well, the website doesn't actually host emailing. It's another email host you've got to go to. And I'm just I don't. No. And so then I'm try another method or whatever it is. And then it's well, can you go? And it's I don't have access to any of this. Can we do something else?
Yeah.
Can you send it to this email? Is there some way I can verify? And every time, because there's a checkbox where it's don't ask me for this for 3 weeks or whatever. If I forget to do that fucking check, I'm fucked. And then you don't get, and everyone doesn't get their newsletter, which I'm sure people are devastated.
Well, isn't this the origin story of how you had to change the name of the Willosophy?
Willosophy was originally called Willosophy. And then I forgot because I stopped doing it for a while and forgot what the login was, and then Apple wouldn't let me.
Oh, that's right. I remember this because you were asking me, I know what the
that was a separate thing.
That was a separate.
Oh, that was another one.
Yeah, that was post that. Yeah, well, because I'd forgotten again. Because so I learned no lessons. But yeah, so it's called Willosophy with Will Anderson because they wouldn't let me register Willosophy again because there was a podcast called Willosophy, but I couldn't get in to say that wasn't
it's me! I'm the guy! Yeah. It's my thing!
Yeah. So now I'm starting this thing, Willosophy with Will Anderson. Yeah.
It's a subtle change. I never noticed that. Right, that makes complete sense. Right. Uh-huh. So, but that doesn't relate to actually getting the episodes into all the Willosophy episodes, accessing them.
It was but that was the original. So I put all these ones up, couldn't get back into that account, so then had to start a new account, Willosophy with Will Anderson, republish all the old episodes in that first.
So there is
there's also a different order, because for some reason the order of the original ones is not the order they were
recorded or released
the second time around. So it feels like the first episode in the, if you go back in this feed, because this is the feed, the Everyone Relax feed, it's the old Willosophy feed, right? So you can literally go back to the start, but that is not the original original order they were published in when I did
That
it the
is
first
so
time either.
fucking funny.
I know.
But it's very us too.
Yes.
It's amazing to be having done this for 15 years. Because there's another issue, Mike, that I haven't raised with you because it's too big. And I don't want to stress you out.
Well, tell me now.
Well,
Yeah, this is the best time.
Well, it's not a- it's not-
on-air meetings. Let's do it.
it's a data entry issue that maybe at some point we just pay someone to do this for us. But when we moved from Whooshka to Omni, there is a whole on our website.
Aren't these great conversations? Whooshka to Omni.
That's the hosting platform.
When we went from Whooshka to Omni.
That's the hosting platform.
Are we with Omni at the moment?
Yes. All the shows are hosted by Omni. But the website, all the episodes that were recorded in the Whooshka days, the way that they're entered into the system, it has the Whooshka tag, so they won't play. So because someone messaged me say, I tried to listen to this episode, but it says file not found on the website. And I realized it's because they haven't been changed over from Omni. So there's certain episodes that have the wrong coding or whatever it is.
Embed.
Yes, the wrong embed. So someone has to go through 300
Mate,
maybe.
honestly, I just started a new website.
It's harder.
I'm kidding. Yeah, it's just a data entry thing, right?
Yeah, we did. We had this issue once before. Remember, we paid a kid to go through. A kid, I think it was a kid.
A kid.
We paid
A child.
An
We paid a
intern.
child.
We did.
Just a random kid.
We asked it. No, I think we put the call out. We said if there's someone who wants to make like, I don't know, $20 an hour doing this, and someone did it and did a spreadsheet for us and laid out everything. So at some point, like the demand hasn't been that high. There's only one person who went back to listen to an old episode. He's like, I couldn't find it. I think it's okay if they listen to it on would that make sense if they listen to it?
Is it only through the website?
I think it's
Is it one of
only
those
through the
things that if they
website?
listen to it through like a feed, they'd be...
Yeah, it's just the embed on the website.
On the
Is
website. So it's just a website
Yeah.
issue. Yeah. It's just a
So if they were listening to the old TOFOP feed or the old whatever
yeah.
feed, they
Yeah,
would
yeah.
still
On the
just be able
podcast players,
to...
they're all
Yeah,
still
it's just a
there.
website. So it's not a big issue because there aren't many people listening
Now,
to episodes through
one
the website.
follow-up question.
Yes.
Is this what that book In Bed with Madonna was about? Is that...
Boo. Boo.
I was
and
sorry.
40 years old?
trying
That
to-
joke? Or 30 years old?
In Bed with Madonna?
Like-
That's a pretty great joke.
No, it's not.
In Bed with Madonna?
No, it's not really at all.
Shut up. In bed. What do you got?
Nothing. How long have we been going, Mike? Is it time to crack that second pack?
40, yeah, it's 47 minutes in.
What is that?
fuck it,
Let's
let's do
crack
it.
the second pack. Let's Biscoff. Let's pick off
Well,
Biscoff.
You're gonna,
to get,
do we get the theme once? Or
Biscoff.
just, all right, I'll just open the pack.
yeah.
Mike's-
all right. Crack that pack.
That's not us singing for people wondering. Will and I did not contribute the vocals
To crack
for
that pack?
thing. Do you want to take a whole...
A Biscoff?
So the Biscoff...
Biscoff.
The Biscoffs...
Biscuit, coffee.
The Biscoffs...
Biscoff.
They come in their own little...
Yes. So it's kind of like a two biscuits.
A lot of plastic packaging, Biscoff.
Well,
guys.
they don't always come like this, but this is like kind of how you'd buy them for the office, and then you might give someone in a meeting. They might have a little Biscoff next to their coffee, and then you can just have two at a time.
And this is confident. Biscoff don't need to bloody tell you what you're
just
getting.
says Biscoff.
No sales pitch.
Lotus Biscoff.
Ingredients from natural origins, no added flavors, no colours, vegan. So you'll be able to eat this. No animals were harmed in the making of this.
Okay, so
Will's going to go first.
they're vegan. I mean, I've had one before, so I'm not. But I
Okay. Look, it's a very attractive biscuit. Look, you know what we're talking about. The Lotus is confusing, right? That they'd put the parent company name on the biscuit and not Biscoff. Like it's Lotus presents Biscoff, but then the biscuit says Lotus.
yeah.
So you would assume that the biscuit was called Lotus.
No, well, often when you go to a cafe or something and they've got a croissant or a whatever, sometimes it'll say Lotus croissant or whatever.
Okay.
But Biscoff is the biscuit that we're talking about. Lotus is the company. Yes, you're right. So here's what I'm going to say. I love a Biscoff biscuit because I love the sweetness, the kind of caramelization, the coffee kind of like, it's so sugary and crisp, and it doesn't need anything more than just the original biscuit to me. There are variations of this that would come with a cream filling, like an Oreo and stuff like
much.
that. Don't need that.
Don't need it.
I personally just think this is there's something that
Great little cup of tea biscuit.
I'm fascinated by places that do one thing very well. You know, it seems to be a bit more of a, like, certainly a Japanese like thing, you know, where they'll just go, you'll go into a shop and they literally just make one thing or one product, or they do variations of one thing and they just do that thing really well. Biscoff, I feel like, is very similar to that in that
they make skinny little biscuits.
Yeah, but or variations on these skinny little biscuits. We're not going to go too far away from the Biscoff itself, this biscuit being the hero of the product.
No, look, I think it's great. Yeah. Delicious, tasty. Love a crunchy biscuit more than a soft biscuit. But I can't taste much coffee in that.
It's for having with coffee.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's not a coffee-flavored biscuit.
No, it's a biscuit that you have with coffee.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, having said that, if this came in a pack of Arnott's assorted, I don't know that I would... I think I would sort of place it alongside a butternut snap or like a shortbread. I think it's good, but it's not outstanding. It's not like, you know, people often, you know, rave about In-N-Out burgers and it's like, oh yeah, they're fine, I guess, but it's more the brand I think people are into. It's the In-N-Out merch.
I actually think that your example is right, but I slightly disagree with you in that I do think that In-N-Out burgers are slightly superior to other burgers. Only slightly superior to other burgers because they simplify what it is they're doing and concentrating on doing it. And I think that the Biscoff biscuit is a good example to use for In-N-Out because it is quite simple. It is not aspiring to be too much, but it does what it does very simply, elegantly, well. There's like a balance in the flavors and the texture that, and again, like, I mean, obviously it's become more familiar to people as being what happened.
I just realized somehow in the course of this episode.
What have you done?
Well, I put the cornflake biscuits on the ground because they're so gross, and I've accidentally knocked them, and now there's fucking cornflakes.
Oh, Charlie!
$1 million studios.
I don't know.
$1 million studios.
Cameron, you know what? We're going to have to set a fire to cover our tracks. Get your red hat.
Just light the building on fire.
We had to. That is.
And that's where they belong. Yeah. On the ground. On the ground, crushed. Mike's going to take a photo.
I mean, that is
secret shame.
That is.
Biscuits on the floor. No good. No good at all, really.
But here's what I will say about your Biscoff biscuit. They are brilliant with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Like I think that flavor works so well with like a milk coffee in particular. Like totally. I love it as like a side biscuit to that because like the texture and the flavor just works really well. And the other thing I love about it, these biscuits, I love the kind of like saucy Biscoff that we're getting in other things. But I miss the crunch. Yeah. And I love that crunch.
What would because I've never had the Biscoff sauce, but I'm wondering, does it just taste like caramel?
Tastes like this crunch. Basically, if you just crush this and added...
But I'm having a hard time articulating what the flavour is because it's tastes like brown sugar.
It's more...
Caramel.
It's malty?
Yes, it's somewhere... Yeah, it's caramel malty maybe. Malt. Like, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
No, yeah, I guess you know what it is? That's an accurate simile, Mike. It's a... Mike, Fire Warden Mike is... Oh, no, he's just getting another photo. Yeah. It's a fancy malto milk. Like the malto milk was never my favourite of the Arnott's family assorted, but it makes sense. If they'd given it this texture with the same flavour, it would have been great. Yeah. It's the texture that makes this.
It's definitely got that molten thing, and it's got it's not golden syrup, but that sort of like whatever that kind of... flavor or something. There's like a warm sort of.
Well, I'm a big fan. I'm going to say it's a solid B plus.
Yeah,
not S tier.
I would say not S tier because I think it's too.
Have we had an S tier? Was that oat and raisin S tier?
I don't think it's oat and raisin quality. Just because there was more depth. You couldn't have like 6 of these. You know what I mean? Like those oat and raisin ones, I could have eaten that whole big cookie, and I did. I could have, and I did.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Whereas, but I would say, I'm going to say an A. I'm going to actually say an A. I think that is just an elegant, simple, beautiful biscuit.
Yeah, and what a great way to round off the episode and just
what a journey from the worst to one of the best.
Yeah,
to one of the finest.
I'm glad.
Take that, Coles.
I'm glad that we. And see, Biscoff didn't have to say Biscoff's finest
No,
range,
it's
Lotus's
confident.
finest range.
Yeah.
It just knew that all it has to say is, doesn't even have to put the name of the biscuit on the biscuit.
Yeah.
Put the company name
Whenever I'm
because they're proud of it.
whenever I'm writing a treatment, when like pitching a product or whatever, I'm always saying like, if you don't have to sell it, if you're just confident in what the product is, you don't have to tell people it's good. People just know. You've just got to be confident, and I think that's what Biscoff do very well. Even the packaging,
It's a red,
real simple.
like
easy.
a picture of
they
the
own
one,
that brand. That's
like
Biscoff Red.
It's Biscoff Red, and then just underneath a picture of the biscuit. That's just it. That's all we need to do.
I mean, I was going to say disembodied biscuit until I realized biscuits don't actually have bodies.
But it literally is. That's all they need to say. Is like, this is the name of the company. Here's what you need to do.
Biscuit.
You put the name of the company and you put a picture of the biscuit.
Yeah,
nothing else.
That was the marketing meeting. Meanwhile, Tim Tam do we put like caramel, salted caramel in there or peppermint or something?
Yeah.
And Biscoff have got like red biscuit. Done. Let's go to lunch.
Industrial batch that shit.
That's right.
Yeah,
No
the bigger
small
the batch,
batches, thank
the
you.
better.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, thank you for listening to this very silly episode. Please support us by going to patreon.com/everyonerelax. Heaps of bonus material there, full-length videos. You would have seen the chaos that happened in the studio today.
Yeah, it's true. Today is a good day for the videos.
Two Guys, One Cup is back if you're a footy
I've been
fan.
scratching my nose a lot in this episode, though.
It's because your cocaine happened because you're very close to...
I'm always aware of it. I don't know what's happened, but I don't know if it's like it gets a bit cold here in the studio or whether I just have like when I talk for a long time, I have like a
nasal
hair that like, because I've noticed it during podcasts, like if I do a few in a day, my nose starts to get itchy and I always get really paranoid, like you said, about like suddenly just like constantly be scratching your nose because it does just come across as if you've got like a massive coke habit.
Hey, let's start a business together.
Hey guys, you know what? We should go into our own Biscoff.
And you got tour dates.
I do. Comedy.com.au. Melbourne International Comedy Festival's on at the moment. I'm doing a special one-off performance of Will Legitimate, which is last year's show, plus what you're talking about, Will. I'm touring Will Legitimate to some regional dates as well. Narre Warren is coming up very soon. So if you're in Narre Warren, come along to Will Legitimate. But there are other places as well. And what you're talking about, Will, heaps more dates have been added. Brisbane, Tassie, Newcastle, Orange, a whole bunch of places. So comedy.com.au.
Yes, Monday, Two Guys, One Cup. Tuesday, Guy Davis and I are doing a countdown of the SNL movies from worst to best. Very grueling at the start. Gets a lot better towards the end.
Great.
I mean, the whole series is great to listen to, but for us it was
will
grueling.
be great.
The podcast is good the whole way through. The movies itself, a very diminishing returns towards the end. Philosophy is back. Heaps of episodes.
We've had like a bunch of stars who have been on and a bunch of new comedians as well who are doing shows. So please check out Philosophy episodes.
And we'll be back next week. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson.
How long? Not long. Everyone relax.